A well-known Toronto Maple Leafs player was the victim of an armed carjacking last night. The team confirmed that Mitch Marner's vehicle was stolen in Toronto's West End. Police cannot name the victims of carjackings, but had this to say about the case.
The most recent incident we're investigating occurred last evening, shortly before 8 p.m. And this took place in the area of Islington and the Gardiner Expressway, where the victims, a man and a woman in their 20s, were robbed at gunpoint for their vehicle. And that was the Land Rover that was stolen in this incident. Thankfully, the victims were unharmed, and we're actively working to establish any links. And dedicated investigators, trust me when I tell you, dedicated investigators are working on this feverishly and continue to review any and all evidence that we have so far.
The CBC's Chris Ensing has been following all the latest on this story, and he joins me now live. So Chris, take us through the new details that police gave today.
Andrew, what we know right now is that they continue to search for 3 suspects. They believe that they are armed, 2 handguns and a knife involved in this carjacking, according to the Toronto Police Service. Now, they did not confirm that it was Mitchell Marner. The club did that earlier today, confirming that it was his vehicle, that he was carjacked last night around 8 p.m. outside of a movie theater. He was with a young woman as well, according to police, both people in their 20s. They say no one was injured, but talked about the psychological toll something like this can take on an individual. At this time, we know the investigation is ongoing. Mitch Marner, coming off of that playoff loss from the weekend, asked not to speak about this. He hasn't made any comments publicly about this. What we do know is that investigation continues at this time. Police looking for that vehicle, saying that the suspects made off in a Range Rover, an SUV, and also talking about how this is something they're seeing in Toronto, that area of the GTA, really increasing these kinds of thefts for these high-end vehicles that they believe are then sold for profit. They're not connecting this to any sophisticated ring at this point, saying it's early in the investigation, and they are asking for the public, if they have any information, to give them a call.
And Chris, as you mentioned, Mitch Marner was asked not to speak about the incident, but his teammates were reacting to the news earlier today. What are they saying?
Yeah, you could see that kind of a sense of one of the quotes talking about this is life, not hockey, the way that kind of ripples through a locker room, obviously, after coming off of a tough weekend to then have to go through these kinds of events as a tightly knit crew, a difficult experience. Here's what they said earlier today.
Really scary situation. Glad to see him today and talk to him and see that everything's okay with him today, but those things are never easy to deal with as a person, and it's a scary situation for sure.
I don't know the details and everything and how much he wants to get into it, so I'm gonna try to avoid it. But it's definitely unfortunate. We're happy he's okay, and there's no real injury. But I think I'll let him kind of address it beyond that.
Now, this happening to the Toronto Maple Leaf star, but he's not the only one. There were 60 other carjackings. So far this year, the Toronto Police Service has responded to. There were 59 in all of 2021. The York Region also saying that they've noticed this has doubled since 2019, saying about 65% of these cases end with the vehicle returned back to the rightful owner. And as far as how this is happening, this was a crime of opportunity, according to the Toronto Police Service, but they've also said they've noticed that times where there have been accidents created to steal that vehicle. There's also been times when people have been followed home to take their vehicle. The police say the big tip is to comply with the commands of those people who are involved in the carjacking and let police know immediately after an event like the one that's happened to Marner.
All right, Chris, thank you. That's the CBC's Chris Ensing reporting live from Windsor, Ontario.